Well, here I am, Mark the Movie Man, and we are at the Midwest Weird Fest / A Night of Horror International Film Festival, and I'm here with Bari Kang, who just had his film show called Itch, and it's a wonderful horror film that's contained in a store. And this film, you said this was your first horror film. How did you enjoy doing a horror film?
I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. It was a tremendously enjoyable ride, and I learned a lot. This is my third film, but it's my first venture into horror, into the world of horror. And I wish I'd started earlier because it's a lot more fun. There's a lot less, I feel, restrictions, and you can create more interesting worlds, you know.
Yeah, and you definitely create an interesting world with a nice twist on the whole pandemic thing, to where people get sick, they itch severely, which you nearly had me scratching in the theater, by the way, which seems to happen to a few people in the audience. And that, what made you decide to do itch? You know, do it as a symptom, because you wouldn't think of that.
Yeah, I was inspired by an incident that happened in the store, in my store, where a customer was freaking out about being bit by something. Sure. She was on fire and she was scratching everywhere, and that's kind of sat in my mind for a long time. And that's where I got that, and I said, oh, okay, this. Then I had the light bulb moment. I said, oh, this could be a zombie thing, but instead of walkers and biting, you have scratchers and
scratchers
and that's how it spreads. And I thought, okay, that's and like you said, when you itch, it's very contagious. Like if you see someone scratching, you get like a little weirded out, and then you get itchy. Right. So it's like, oh, an itch even spreads regardless. Right. So I said that could lend itself to that. So that's how that happened. Yeah.
And then you shot this at your family store. You said at the Q&A you had most of your family in here. So this kind of became a very personal project for you.
Yeah, it did. We shot it during the Hollywood strikes, and this was right after the pandemic. So the industry was shut down, and I have a very creative family. My daughter, my wife, they're almost like, you know, they're probably way more creative than myself.
Sure.
And when you have talent like that around, it'd be a shame not to use it. And, you know, being an independent filmmaker, I think I said this in the Q&A, so I'm repeating myself, but, you know, you do what you can with what you have when you can. Like, that's my formula. It's been working for me, so yeah. And
you had a decent amount of blood and gore and makeup effects in there. Who did you have work on that? And, how did you decide when and where you were going to show more blood and less blood?
Yeah. So, to answer your first question, there was this young lady, Mariana Guzman. She's a very talented makeup and SFX artist. I knew from day one that this is going to have practical gore, practical effects, not VFX. One, you need a tremendous amount of money to pull that off in any decent way. Right. And this was ended up being a homage to the old school films. You know, do it the real way, and it looks great on camera. It still holds up. Yeah. And so that was that decision. And then with the blood, it's so the movie's not like a gore fest. You know, so I had to be very intentional when I showed it. You build up moments where the audience would really be invested in it, so it wouldn't be kind of just gore for gore's sake. Sure. It would be, oh wow, okay, I saw that coming, or like that person deserved it. Like oh my God, not him or her. So that's less is more. I think less is more, and it also helps when you have limited resources. It forces you to be more creative, and I think that then makes a better product. So yeah,
and it not using it as much, you don't get kind of desensitized to it either. And the practical effects, I always am. I'm a huge supporter of that, because I think it ages films a lot better than when you use VFX a lot. Right. And you said it looks great on camera. Now, one of the things that I always love about horror, and I don't know if you found that when writing it, is it seems to lend itself a more naturally to being able to work in social commentary, social representation, and that into a film.
Yeah.
Did you find that when writing the horror, a horror film for the first time? Did you find that it was it kind of lend itself to be able to work those elements in a little easier?
I wasn't thinking about that, but I do. My voice is obviously
Sure.
in there. I do kind of pull some cracks and challenge some institutions. I think
Sure.
a lot of people pick up on it. We talk about religion, and we talk about the government, healthcare, immigration. That I mean, we made this last year, so I didn't know this whole immigration thing was going to be happening now.
Right.
But those are issues that have always been there and will always continue to be. So I think these are these themes and social issues that people can relate to on kind of in a timeless way, like you said. And yeah, I think the better horror always has something behind it, which is more than just the ghosts and the ghouls and the blood,
Sure.
which is some type of emotional story or social commentary around it.
And what would you say was probably your favorite scene to shoot in here? Not to spoil too much, but the one scene, maybe not quite so descriptive, but what would you say was your kind of favorite scene to do?
That's a tough one. I would have to say the ones with my daughter.
Sure.
Yeah. Just because that's a very unique memory from this film, so it's precious because of that. But otherwise, it would probably be the opening scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The opening scene. I don't want to give too much away.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can take a guess. People are scratching, and they'll do whatever they can to stop scratching.
and it gets people right into the scratching, itchy mood. So, so where does itch go from here now?
So we're in our festival circuit right now. We played a couple of festivals. We're here now. We'll be in Phoenix next month at the Phoenix Film Festival. They have a horror sidebar as well, the International Horror and Sci-Fi Festival in Phoenix. And then from there, let's see.
And you looking to do more horror in the future then? Did it kind of get the bug, so to speak, to bite you?
Yeah, I'm itching to do it.
Excellent. So check it out. And on social media, where can they catch you for following up on things?
I'm at Bari Kang 1, and the film is at Itch 2025.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.